Hello everyone. Now the alternator chapter has the next topic is parallel operation of alternator. It is very important for the case of industries and where distributed generators are concerned about when we are considering more than one alternator at a time. So that time for the case of load sharing, we need to concentrate on the parallel operation of alternator. So it is necessary to provide an uninterrupted continuous power supply. So many plants, it is not sufficient to depend on a single alternator. We don't able to rely on a single alternator. That's why for some reasons, for the load sharing especially, and to have a safe operation, some two or more than two alternators need to connect in parallel. In case of an isolated plant, a considerable amount of reserve capacity would be required to ensure the continuity of the supply. Moreover, some units are required either to be lightly loaded or floating on the lines in order to meet the unpredicted sudden increase in demand. That is a very important point. Second one, if there is a sudden increase in demand, suppose in your locality or in your home itself, you have two ACs. Mostly you are using the fans, but sudden in a summer time, you will be using fan as well as the AC. So the sudden increase of load demand may hamper the bus bar and may hamper the amount of current of the alternator, of a single alternator. But when there are two alternators, the current will be divided. So for that sudden situations, mostly in a normal time, those two alternators will be lightly loaded, but in the peak hours, they will be operated on a safe zone also. So there will be two or more alternators connected in parallel called parallel connection of alternator. Clear? The parallel operation of alternate power station is essentially an extension of parallel operation of alternator, with the exception of resistance and reactances of their interconnection. It is very important part and is the condition that the resistance and reactances of the interconnectors should be matched with the both alternators. Here, so why the parallel operation of alternators are required? Means what is the reason of parallel operation? Already explained. That is, first of all, uninterrupted continuous power supply. Second, for fulfillment of the load requirement, that sudden load if it increase, so that we can operate the both alternators in a safe zone that the current limit should be matched. Next, provide increase the overall efficiency obviously, and for reduction per unit generating cost also. Per unit generating cost is also reduced due to the safe operation. Clear? So those are the reasons of parallel operations. Here, now this is a diagram of parallel operation. Suppose we are having two alternators. These are the, what are that? Already we have explained the armature resistance, armature reactance. Very two important criteria of the alternator operation. So those armature resistances and reactances should match. Also, the bus bar voltage and the terminal voltage and some other conditions which we need to match so that we can operate the two alternators with a common bus bar. See, this is a bus bar which is commonly connected with both the alternators. So the terminal voltage of the alternator should match. And as we already explained that the factors affecting the terminal voltage means resistance, armature reactance, armature reaction reactance. Clear? So that we can call togetherly, we can say it is a synchronous reactance. Can you remember, guys? That is the armature resistance and the synchronous reactance should match for both the case of alternator. So these are the important conditions of alternator. First of all, let us concentrate on the conditions of parallel operation. It's a very important and it's a Very important short question as well as the interview question. For make system efficient and free from dangerous problems. It's a very much put emphasis. If those conditions are not matched, there will be the dangerous problem. Then some conditions are required. Number one, the terminal voltage of incoming alternator must be equal to that of another alternator, the bus bar. Clear? That is the bus bar voltage and the terminal voltage of both the alternator. The bus bar voltage and the terminal voltage of both the alternator should match. The frequency of the two alternator also should match. Both alternators voltage are same or the bus bar voltage relative to the load. Irrespective of the load, rather the all voltages should match. So that there should not be any circulating current between the winding and the bus bar and the incoming alternators. Here, so the winding and the alternators, there should not be any circulating current. It's very important. And the last phase sequence should match. Means RYB or ABC will be similarly connected with this ABC. Not we cannot connect it with the A to B and B to C. Not like that. The A phase should be connected with the same phase. There is a phase sequence should be matched. That is the RYB sequence or the clockwise or anti-clockwise, whatever the way you are able to remember. The phase sequence should be matched. Now the next one is process of parallel operation. So in the operation, there are two alternators connected in parallel. Here we are connecting two, or we can connect more than two alternators. So two on which there must be a bus bar which is commonly connected with both the alternators, with all the alternators other. The process of connecting an alternator in parallel with another alternator or with common bus bar is called synchronizing. Means we need to synchronize. Already you have known the thing. Synchronous machine or synchronous speed. That is the same speed of the field. The rotating speed for the case of induction motor. Can you remember? That is the synchronous speed we used to mention. Means that is the speed of the field. Now the machine is called synchronous machine when the speed of the field will match with the speed of the rotor. That is called synchronous machine. Here, so synchronize means the alternators, all the alternators, so the two or more alternators, resistance as well as reactance, that is the synchronous reactance, as well as resistance, synchronous reactance, and most importantly, terminal voltages. All criteria, phase sequence, all the criteria are matching with each other. Here, resistance, armature reactances, that is the synchronous reactance, and terminal voltage phase sequences. All conditions are matched with everything. That the process is called synchronizing process. Clear? The system is established on the base of requirement of the load. In the process of AC generator, mechanical input is provided to rotate the alternator. Okay. So this is called synchronous process, and in this process of AC generator, mechanical input is provided to rotate the alternator. So these are all this is the process of parallel operation. Means there must be a common bus bar and the alternator and the bus bar must be in a synchronizing mode. Clear? The alternator, between the alternator and the bus bar, all the conditions should be matched. That is known as synchronized. Clear? That is a very important part and very important point of parallel operation. That is, everything should be synchronized. Okay. So already we have studied these are the conditions of parallel operation. Rather, these are the condition of synchronizing. Okay. Now we can concentrate the advantages of parallel operation. So there are various advantages. Obviously, already the reasons are because that is the load sharing, means the current is shared between the two alternators. So the conductor size will be reduced, which will be which will increase the efficiency also. Clear? The load sharing means the current sharing and efficiency increase. If the efficiency increase means that if the current is less, means the losses, that is the I square R loss will be less. Easy to operate, cheaper, rather reduce capital cost, continuity of supply, another very important point. There you can rely on the supply. It is not a problem. That is, there is a continuous supply we can achieve. And there are so many advantages like the saving of fuel also there. But most importantly, the reason as well as the advantages of the operation. The reason and as well as the advantages of the operation we can concentrate. That is the load is being shared and increase the efficiency and the losses also being reduced. Okay, these are the very important points. Load sharing, efficiency increase, and reduction of losses. As the current is being divided, so the I square loss is also being reduced. Clear? So these are the okay, and there are another applications are there also. You can note down. That is what should be the application of the parallel operation of alternator. The applications are we can use for the high load and we can use for the industries also and for the reliable power supply. There must be parallel operation of alternators because mostly in the industry as well as the power supply we cannot depend on a single alternator. We cannot depend on a single alternator. We need to depend on the more number of alternators. So what if any problem occurs during a single operation, so that the, the supply will not be disturbed. Okay. So these are the conditions. So I hope you have understand that is the parallel operation of the alternator and most importantly why it is needed and what are the process and condition of the operation. Clear? So just repeating, this is the very important interview question also. That is the resistance, synchronous reactance, terminal voltage, phase sequence, and no circulating current. These five conditions should match, and obvious the frequency. Okay, terminal voltage, frequency, resistance, reactance, and no circulating current. Those all conditions should be matched, and when all conditions match, then only we can say that the alternators are in a synchronized with the bus bar. Clear? The alternators are synchronized with the bus bar. Those are the main important things. Clear? So study, and this is the almost finishing of your module 3, and the last one topic is left, that is the synchronizing, means how we can match all these three things. Okay, that is the resistance, terminal voltage, and frequency. The frequency is easily being matched if the speed is being matched. Okay, that is one way. Speed and constructionally, these are the terminal operations are being matched, means the frequency and other things will be matched. If rather, if we use the construction in the same alternators, rather we have to synchronize. There is a process so that we can match everything, that is the reactance and all things. That is called synchronizing process also. We have to study that part. Clear? To study that is parallel operation of alternators. If you have any doubt, call me.